I'd like to call to order the April 15, 2025 Batavia Park District Board of Commissioners regular board meeting to order at 7:08. Lindsay, please call the roll.
Larson.
Here.
Fellows, absent. Tillman.
Here.
Gregg. Here. Callahan.
Here. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Any items to be added, removed, or changed on the agenda?
There are not.
All right, so I would entertain a motion to establish the consent agenda as follows. Approve the meeting minutes for the regular board meeting of March 18th, 2025. Approve the meeting minutes of the executive session of March 18th, 2025. Approval of the paid expenditures, approval of the expense, approval report, approval of the investment summary, approval of the income statement, and approval of purchases.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gregg. Aye. Larson.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as established.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. All those who approve signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? None, motion carries. Guests, matters from the public? You guys want to introduce yourselves? We'd love you to,
Yeah, that'd be great.
because this is on camera.
I know.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again. I got to meet most of you before the meeting started. My name's Anik Druin, and I am one of the newly elected commissioners to the board.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Hello, it's nice to see everybody. I'm Amanda Slayer, and I am the other newly elected commissioner to the board. So thanks for having me.
Great, thanks for coming.
Welcome, congrats.
Enjoy that vantage point.
Right?
We won't have it for 6 months.
All right. Next item on the agenda is matters from the commissioners. Anybody have any statements they'd like to make?
Yes. This last Saturday was the dedication of Clark Island. And first of all, I had no idea so many people were going to do this. It was packed. But with that, it was so well run and so organized. Kudos to everybody who put that together. It was fantastic. It was, you know, the egg thing obviously is like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But everything else was just very well run, very well orchestrated. It was the stuff was set up. Vendors were able to do what they wanted to do. It was great, and, you know. And if it's any indication of the egg hunt there this time, I mean, doing it there again, I can see it being done there. It just that space. It just seems to work. But it was like a festival like atmosphere, and. I'm still sore from watching the skateboarders, but it was just great. I just, you know, kudos to everybody who put that together.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I was there as well. It was quite a fantastic event. I was a little worried with, you know, the parking. You guys laid out some really great maps and designed some really good, like park here, gave the how long it would take to walk. And it didn't seem like anyone had any problem with that. It was really, I mean, I thought maybe people would go because of some of that, but it really didn't stop anybody. It was a gorgeous day and a really fun event. It was a lot of fun. My daughter and I had her friends come from North Aurora that she's friends with and other people, and, you know, I couldn't believe how many skateboarders were out there.
Right.
Too,
I understand Kim is responsible for the weather now.
She is.
So kudos on that.
So that worked out really
Just
nice.
absolutely perfect weather.
Yes, it was.
She pulled some
You're
strings.
welcome.
Yeah.
Can you put that in your job title?
Yeah, just put that in there.
Yeah.
All other duties as assigned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, it's in there.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it. I was at a wedding to be
No,
with, so,
it was fantastic.
great. Anyone else? All right, so next item on the agenda is correspondence. We had two pieces of correspondence, a thank you letter from Jim DiCiulli, Executive Director of CASA, Kane County, for a recent donation to their annual Children's Champion Celebration Gala, and a transcribed voicemail from a resident, Bill McGrath, complimenting the new Blackard Skate and Bike Park.
Bill, the former
Yeah, former city administrator, yeah.
Excellent.
He has a metal shop right across the street from the skate bike park. And this is the first time we've ever transcribed a voicemail for correspondence. So if the board likes it, we can continue to do that.
I love that.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
great.
it's absolutely,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And then a letter from Peter Murphy, President and CEO of Illinois Association of Park Districts, notifying the Batavia Park District that we were chosen to receive a $1,000 Power Play grant for the Kids Club, which is outstanding. So we will put those on file. Next item on the agenda is Batavia Parks Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Jamie Lusk, so this is my first year on the Batavia Parks Foundation board, and I am the secretary. I'm so excited to be here tonight and represent the foundation and give you some updates from March and April. The Clark Island ribbon cutting celebration was fantastic. We would definitely want to thank the Park District for their collaboration and what felt like it was a very, very successful event. And it was a lot of fun. And our president, Katie O'Brien, actually spoke to somebody who came into town from Rockford to just happen to see it, I think, on social media. So they actually came, and she was talking to him, and they were going to spend the whole day in Batavia, going to restaurants and just looking around. So it was the fact that we're drawing people from as far as Rockford to our events is fantastic. For those who weren't in attendance, we were lucky enough to be graced by Anna and Elsa from Frozen at the foundations table, and it was a big hit with all the kids. We had a long line where they were taking pictures. Kids enjoyed taking pictures with the princesses, and we did temporary tattoos and gave out stickers. And then we did some of the rock painting for the garden that we had down by the river. Again, extra thank you to the Park District for their help in setup and takedown. It seemed to go really smoothly, and everyone was it was just such a positive environment. It was great to be there and witness it and work there for the first time. There is rock garden signage. Earlier this month, we approved the design for the Batavia Peace Garden. It's going to be a 12-inch PVC UV laminated sign that should stand up to any weather, wear and tear that might happen. Our goal is to get that installed before the Windmill City Festival this summer. And we talked about the River Rhapsody, which again, we're very excited about that, hearing about the new themes going on with that. We are going to be there on June 25th for 70s night. The foundation is going to host a tie-dyeing table, and we're encouraging participants to bring shirts in or bring older things in that they want to tie-dye to tie in with our environmental focus. July 16th, we're going to do the Rock of Ages, and we're going to do more rock painting at that time to add more things to the Peace Garden. And then August 6th, 90s night, and we're going to be doing friendship bracelets, friendship bracelet making activity there. So that's pretty much it for our March and April updates from the foundation. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can, or any comments or anything like that.
Any questions? No. We just appreciate you coming out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we appreciate the update.
Yeah, we're excited to continue working with the Park District.
As are we.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, next item on the agenda is presentations. You want to take this one, Melissa?
Yes, everyone's in for a real treat tonight. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you a resident that approached our marketing director and our executive assistant and myself, and said that he had written a song about our Peace Bridge, and he wanted to share it. And so we screened it, and we vetted it, and So it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Batavia resident and Batavia local business owner, Steve Cohen. He owns MedVesta Hypnosis Healthcare. And he helps healthcare workers manage stress, anxiety, pain, and sorrow without pharmaceuticals. And again, it's my great pleasure to bring him forward so that he can share this.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, the first slide is dark.
Okay.
Oh, can we have lights? Oh, go to the second.
I always thought this bridge was called Peace on Earth Bridge because every time I pass it, there was a sign on there that said Peace on Earth. So I'm a runner. I've been running since 2020, and I run everywhere. And one morning I was running toward the bridge. After running out to Aurora, came back, and something inside, when I saw that sign, just gave me a shift. During the night, I ran again. I run mornings and I run nights. And I saw it lit up, and again, it just grabbed me. And this bridge, I think, really needs a song. This was right after this was right before the elections this year. There was a lot of stress going on, people not treating other people very well. And I thought, this just exemplifies, maybe we need something a little bit different. So I began to write this, rewrite this, write it, rewrite it, rewrite it, and it grew to a song that I thought would be filled with hope, and that would also talk a little bit about Batavia, and not only talk to Batavians about Batavia, but bring people from the outside to Batavia. I don't know if anybody's ever been on LSD, Lakeshore Drive.
Thank you for safing me out.
Lakeshore Drive, there's a song that came out called Lakeshore Drive, probably about 30 years ago, in the 1970s, and when Lakeshore Drive came out, they announced it, and the city of Chicago, supposedly from what I read, had an increase of revenue of all their buildings and people using restaurants of $20 million for a weekend. And that's why I really thought having a song for Batavia and the Peace on Earth Bridge would be very important. Hit that.
Oh.
I'm going to play it from here.
Oh, do you want me to play the MP3 file?
Excuse me?
Would you like the MP3 file played?
Yeah,
The song.
The song?
Would I like it what?
Would you like me to play it? The song?
Well, I have it. I'm going to play it off here, but can you play it off of there?
Yeah, I can.
Go back one slide. Wrong song. I sent the wrong song, my fault, not yours.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll play it from here, though.
In a quiet town in Illinois, there's a place to see where the Fox River flows and hearts are set free. It's not just steel, it's not just stone. It's where love is built and hate is not known. Step by step, we leave the past behind. Hand in hand, a bridge for all humankind. Oh, the magic of peace on a bridge, where the world comes together to forgive. Every step is a promise, every plank is a guide to a world that's united, that stands side by side. It whispers softly, lay down your pride, let your heart lead you to the other side. Step by step, we leave the pain behind. Hand in hand, let's heal the ties that made us blind. Oh, the magic of peace on a bridge, where the world comes together to forgive. Every step is a promise, every plank is a guide to a world that's united, that stands side by side. Imagine every city, every town, with bridges where love is found. No more hate, no need to fight, just a world lit up in peace is light. Oh, the magic of peace on a bridge, where the world comes together to forgive. Every step is a promise, every plank is a guide to a world that's united, that stands side by side. So take that step, build that bridge inside. Be the love the world cannot hide. Oh, the magic you can see. Peace on earth for you and me.
So I see this song as drawing people also to Batavia, drawing people to the bridge, people wanting to take their picture on the bridge, I just think there's a great possibility of utilizing this song for the Batavia Park District.
Is that you singing?
That's me singing.
Oh, that's really good.
It takes a lot of automation to
Oh, okay. That's really good. That's really
make
impressive.
that. I've been collecting pieces of music since I was 5 years old. And putting together a song for me is like if anybody is familiar with soldering, it's like soldering a piece of wire and playing it back, listening to it, take that piece out, put another piece in. This took 37 takes to make this song over and over. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well done.
You're getting the golden ticket to Hollywood.
Yeah, sure.
We should put that little QR code by the selfie station.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Maybe we take pictures while we listen to that.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for sharing that with us and coming out tonight and showing us not only your presentation, but also kind of the story behind how you developed the song. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So thanks again.
It's very moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
All right. It's your turn, Kate.
So,
Look at, she has to
see, now
follow.
you have to.
Now I know how Brent feels.
Because she has to follow that.
So I apologize, Brent. But yeah, now I know exactly how he feels, so. Good evening, Batavia. Sunshine and warm temps have us dreaming of summer, and we've got some great news. A little taste of summer is headed straight to your mailbox this week. That's right, the Summer Fun Guide is landing in your home this Thursday, packed with exciting family events, new programs, and everything you need to make the most of the season. It's packed with most of the season and have the best summer yet. Can't wait? No problem. You can flip through the digital guide at bataviaparks.org. Batavia resident registration starts next Monday, April 21st, and is open to everyone else on April 28th. So mark those calendars for the best Batavia summer yet. And speaking of summer, can you believe that Hall Quarry Beach opens in just over 1 month?
Now it's time to lock in your season pass rate. Save an average of $30 off per pass if you purchase now before Memorial Day. There's even a deeper discount if you purchase before the end of April. And does the great weather have you feeling the need to be active? The countdown is on for the Windmill World 5K and 1 Mile Fun Run happening on May 3rd. You've just got 2 weeks left to register and secure your spot at the starting line now by signing up at bataviaparks.org. But if you're more into history than running, which some people at this table are, check out the return of our 2 local favorites, the Cheers Through the Years Pub Crawl and the History Trolley Tour, which are both part of the Preservation Week. And Preservation Week is brought to you by Batavia Depot Museum, the Batavia Historical Society, the Batavia Public Library, Batavia Main Street, and the Preservation Partners of Fox Valley. Just head to bataviaparks.org and search Depot to learn more about Preservation Week. And if you're excited to savor that little bit of history, you can sip, savor, and unwind at Batavia Uncorked, the casual wine event on June 7th at the Peg Bond Center. Enjoy local wine, live music, and fun food by the scenic Depot Pond. So get your tickets now before they sell out at bataviaparks.org. There are 2 drink packages this year, and they are both still available. And finally, this one is for Commissioner Tillman. Spring and Showers are bringing more than just flowers. They're bringing wedding and bridal showers. So,
There it is.
I held it off.
I was waiting for it.
Held it off. If you are planning a celebration or even a graduation party, the Batavia Park District has the perfect venue for you. From the scenic Peg Bond Center to the historic Shannon Hall, and even the brand new Skyloft in the soon-to-be opening Callahan Community Center, we've got a space for you. For groups from 5 to 200, host your party or event with us. And so that is your update from Batavia Park District. Enjoy the sunshine, make some new memories, and as always, play your way, Batavia. Great job.
All right.
She did it, she followed.
Right,
She followed Pete.
exactly.
It was hard. Passing it to Brett now.
He's like, thank you. I
I guess.
Staff reports.
All right, Director of Finance, Brent Strom.
The Finance Department is continuing to finalize our preparations for the audit, which is taking place next week with the auditors on site. I also worked with the Illinois Department of Natural Resources as well as Director Wyant on a 6-month extension for our Clark Island OSLAD grant agreement. Some of the final construction tasks have been delayed due to the weather. They may not be completed by the initial April 30th deadline. So the extended contract will run through October 31st of this year, although we anticipate the construction to be done much, much sooner than that. And then we'll submit for the final reimbursement request as soon as the project is completed.
Is that something that we're not expecting to have a problem with? The 6-month extension?
Yeah, it's already been submitted for, and
Like that's,
yes.
turn on, there's not gonna be a
Yeah.
pushback?
Yep, so IDNR was very willing to work with us on getting that extended.
They understand that, do
Yes.
Yeah, mainly the asphalt. Plants aren't quite opening yet, and we got delayed. Weather crept up on us in the fall too, so just basically the asphalt.
They're open today.
So it's gonna be soon.
They're open early. They definitely open on the 15th.
Right.
So it's approximately 50% of all of the grant recipients are in the same boat as us
Yeah.
because of that,
Yeah.
the asphalt plates.
And then last thing I wanted to touch on, which I mentioned in my board report, is I just wanted to make the board aware of some discussion surrounding municipal bonds that is taking place in the United States Congress. So municipal bonds, which are bonds issued by state and local governments to fund primarily capital investments, such as the bonds that we issue, the Park District. These bonds are exempt from federal taxes. And this tax exemption has been in place for over 100 plus years and has lowered interest rates for bond issuances by state and local governments, which frees up more money for local governments to invest in the community. So with the 2017 tax law expiring at the end of this year, there's been lots of discussions about how to raise money by the federal government, and something that has come up is the federal tax exemption that municipal bonds get. So no official legislation has been introduced, but I think, in these current political environment, I think there's potential for kind of anything to happen at this point. So I just kind of wanted to make the board aware of that, and the implications that it could have not only on us, but local governments throughout the country. And it's something that I'll be watching going forward.
Political environment is, what's going on?
So if you do hear of anything, he can send a general email out to us without any issue, right? Just saying, hey, by the way, here's the most current thing that's happening with that, right?
Sure, our advice is always just don't reply.
Right, we just don't reply all. But yeah, I would appreciate it if you heard anything going forward, just to blast it out to the board so we're kept up to
And
date.
normally that'd be like a board alert.
Yeah.
And then I would send, Brent and I would work on it together. And
Yeah,
send it out.
that'd be great.
Okay. Great, thanks Brent. All right, Director of Facilities and Trades, Josh.
Yeah, so ACT Services has started their assessment for the ADA transition plan that we're have to do every year or every 5 years for the distinguished agency. So they've actually have gone through about 15 parks so far. So we're off to a good start on that. A little sooner than I thought it would start, so that's good. And I also wanted to say Superintendent of Facility and Trades Jim Redmond passed his CPSI, which is a certified playground safety inspection. So kudos to him. It's a hard test. So yeah, so that makes like 3 of us now on the Facility and Trades department that happened. So
Great.
I saw the new facade on the Callahan Center, like the elevator and all the glass is starting to go up.
Yep.
That's the money shot right there.
Absolutely, absolutely. The roof should be completed this week as well. So and flooring's starting to go in. So it's all
coming
coming
together.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely.
Are you sure you don't see a sneak peek of my report?
Oh. But I did read it.
Well, you don't share it, so you can't see it.
Oh.
Well, you're going to see the illusion, everything, it's still in my report. All right, Director of Parks, Kim.
Yeah, I just want to give a couple updates on some projects that we're working on. The Clark Island canoe launch project that we've talked about in the past. We're working with the Fat Fox Water Trail. And that is supposed to be slated to start next week. We did get an email from the Historic Preservation Office with some questions, so it might delay a little bit, but still on track to start here in the next few weeks, as far as I know. So happy with that it's still going. And then the river level trail ramp that I'm working with the city on is getting closer to going out to bid. We're working on the final plans, and the reviews of the final plans are due by next week, the end of the week, and then they're going to be going out to bid. So that'll be starting here pretty soon too. So really excited for that big project, and that's it.
Tara, that has to feel good because ever since you've been on the board, people come forward to say that they're tired of carrying their bikes up the stairs, and we're going to be able to have that ramp there. And using TIF money, so it's the schools, park district, and city that's paying for it.
Actually, the big criticism when it was built.
Lack of forethought in that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was all planned before I got on the board, and then constructed after I got on the board, so.
Well, we don't. Oh, I mean, the city.
And it'll be fixed after you.
Yeah.
The city.
But they're taking that.
Your whole tenure was on nothing but
James,
stairs.
So we can say we helped fund it.
Right. That's their thing.
Yep. All right, thanks, Kim. And Director of Culture and Talent. Talent and Culture.
Tomorrow we'll be hosting a meeting for pre-retirement employees, 5 to 9 years out. I am Rex coming out, so we're excited about that. Well, some people are excited about that, others maybe not so much. But we're going to roll right into that. I'll be using that meeting to roll into succession planning because it gives me a good peek of maybe what will be happening in the next 5 to 9 years. And I'll be able to start that process. In addition to that, Top Workplace is right around the corner. So the survey will be going out June 16th through the 30th. So we're excited about that. Hopefully we'll have 2025, third year in a row. And finally, we did that safety and training. I think I mentioned it last month in my report, but we had the Jeopardy style. It was really well received. Our very own Christina Tamiris was our new and improved Alex Trebek. The employees loved it. It was fun and engaging. They dressed up. They had team names, dressed up in certain themes. It was fun. It was a
Yeah,
good
you
time.
said who was Alex Greco, who won?
Oh, the trades.
Trades,
Trades
yeah.
team.
As soon as I said it, I knew who won. Because I looked down and saw.
But in all honesty, they had Gail, who's on the safety committee,
Very true.
on their team, and she did carry that team.
Well, he was looking for humble.
Right, all of a sudden, no, that changed.
Video show.
Yeah.
We have
who
video
won.
proof of it.
Yeah.
And he didn't participate because
Yeah.
Josh and I were chair peoples on that safety committee, so we were just assistants.
Still.
He looked like a proud papa.
And rec in a couple
Yeah.
seconds, so.
Wait,
We
wait.
divided
Yeah.
No, right. To answer that question, Mark.
Well, I give you a lot
I
of
love
credit for
that.
doing
She was
something
so funny.
different, because it's, those kind of trainings
She
are
was funny.
difficult.
They're boring.
Start with.
Same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
And it was fun because I think
It
it was more engaging and people were actually remembering things.
Absolutely.
And they were answering, so
Yeah.
it was a fun time.
Yeah.
It was good.
That's great.
Thanks.
Great job. And then Brittany, Director of Community Recreation.
Awesome. We are gearing up for our Depot Day on June 21st. So I want to give a shout out to Kate and Jess, the museum. They earned an award of excellence for their spring market and meals exhibit. So we're really excited. So kudos to them for their hard work and creativity. The rec team's been busy gearing up for summer when it comes to camp, the quarry, all of our special events. And I wanted to just give a highlight. We have our highest registration to date on our softball league and our Energy City Soccer. And we have lots of new programs coming, so we're excited for a really fun summer. So.
I mean, you weren't there because you had other commitments, but they already had programmed the fitness pad
Yeah.
at Clark Island. When we were,
For the ribbon cutting?
yeah, they were having classes while we were there. There were dance classes and so forth.
It was fun,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then I see that there's already fishing classes. I mean, so the
Yes.
whole thing is already programmed
That's
for.
great.
And people
Yeah.
could scan a QR code
Yeah.
on site and you
Yeah.
can register on the spot.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. The work class at the fitness court was my favorite. We
Yeah.
walked up at perfect timing. That was the best.
That was great.
Yeah. Agreed. Thank you.
Super.
And our Director of Creative Development and Community Engagement, Katie.
So April is an extremely busy time for our department as we are gearing up for the summer season. A lot of the stuff that you think of, a lot of the items that you think of from the marketing department involve marketing and advertising all of our great special events and River Rhapsody and bringing in our programs. But a lot of our work that's done in April and the beginning of May is to support the needs of the recreation staff who are running the programs during the summer. So our queue has been full of a lot of signage updates for the summer, prepping manuals and forms and sheets and anything that you could imagine that our recreation staff are going to need this summer. We've been busy working and creating those. It's a lot of tedious work that is behind the scenes, but that is very important to keeping all of our district running smoothly. And then also, because everyone likes to hear it, we're starting to work on the fall fun guide right now.
We're like retail.
Did I say, yeah.
We're looking at our we're ordering the fall.
So we are already prepping on the fall. The summer has not even started, and we are prepping on the fall events. Another thing from our community engagement, in partnership with a lot of people in this room, we are beginning, as Brittany mentioned, the Depot Day celebration on the 21st. We are planning that community event, as well as starting to plan for the grand opening and ribbon cutting extravaganza for the Callahan Community Center event. So very thrilled about that. Yeah, it's just going to be an amazing summer with all of the programming that the teams have put on and that we're looking forward to marketing it and being out in space.
I have to say, Brittany and Katie are both very humble, but they were the co-chairs of the community party that everyone enjoyed on Saturday. You know, adding the egg hunt with the Touch a Truck event, 21 volunteer organizations on site, each offering a variety of activities, and then all the demonstrations. I mean, and of course they had a committee that the leadership team was also on, but they were spearheaded all the efforts. They were the magic that made it happen.
Well, and it wasn't more than just touch a truck for our stuff. The fire department and the police showed up.
So the one, I did notice, it took me, I didn't see it right away, but that you had a lot of the trucks were down, right?
Yeah.
How'd they get over there?
So there's a, so.
Loaded, eh?
Yeah.
You drive it?
Can you just drive over there? Because I'm looking at them like, oh, they
You
get
don't
there.
remember
Well,
the ferry for the CIG?
I didn't see that on
Yeah,
the
pay a little more
I
attention.
just looked over there and I was
No,
like,
those trucks have been there since the 70s. They don't
they've
move.
been there since they built that
Yeah,
stage.
they just
there.
paint them
Just a
over.
little bit of rust.
I was like, I don't think I remember those over there. So no, it was really cool use of all of the space, right, over on Clark Island. It was really, yeah, it was really cool.
Thank you.
Great job.
All right, Allison, you're up.
All right. There we go. So we've been talking a lot about the Clark Island Community Party, and I'm really proud of our team, all of our staff. They had a lot of heart and hustle, and from the park board to our professional staff, we were able to throw a community party in honor of our grand opening of the newly renovated Clark Island. And again, Katie and Brittany brought the celebration to life. The Touch a Truck, the Egg Hunt, the skateboarding demonstrations, the fitness court demonstrations, the 21 groups that came up. It was truly an affair to remember. And then the transformation would not have been possible without the Illinois Department of Natural Resources $600,000 OSLAD grant that we matched, in addition to the $50,000 grant from the Illinois Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And they were also on site. So we are going to send them all of our media kits from that day. So hopefully we can make them a partner of ours for funding in the future. And now Clark Island is a destination for active living, reflection, and community gathering. And so here's the bottom right was the picture of the dance class taking place. And I have to give Vice President Tillman credit here because
He must have moved?
No,
He did not.
don't
He did
leave
not.
that.
But when we started this whole process 3 years ago, I asked Josh to take the lead on the committee, and I just told him I was going to be there for touch points throughout it. But I said, I'd really like to have a park board member on this committee so that they could see the process, go through the ebbs and flows, but also because John specifically has experience with the Ninja Warrior type courses, having done a lot of Tough Mudders. Actually, how many?
27.
27 Tough Mudders competitions. And at that time when we were simply looking at replacing the skate park, simply like a playground replacement, replacing the skate park equipment, staff and I, Kim, Josh, Brittany, we had a vision of let's look at the campus, not just a singular item. And let's have a bigger vision and let's really look at what it could be. So enter Tillman, and with John's help, we did some field trips, a lot of creative, collaborative conversations about what if, not what is, but what could be. And we did community input meetings with Upland Design. We went to the River Rhapsody concert series, asked people, what would you like to see here? People said, gosh, it's caged in, it looks like a juvenile detention center. We don't want people to feel like they're being punished in here in this cage. And the police department said, yeah, it's really difficult. When kids run from us, they run inside there and we can't jump up over in that fence to get in and you get the turnstiles locked. So we wanted to really create an opening, and with the OSLAD grant, we knew we had to have 5 criteria. So the fishing station, the pollinator garden, the Rotary Club, actually I think that's the next slide here, there we go. The pollinator garden, skateboard park, bike park, and then the fitness court were all sufficed, the 5 elements we needed, the 5 criteria for the OSLAD grant. And we went from looking at the Ninja Warrior courses, challenge courses, to finding out from other park districts that people said, we don't know how to use that. We're not, it looks like a jungle gym for adults, and that's embarrassing. I don't want to break an arm, I don't want to hurt myself. And so that idea evolved into what is now the outdoor fitness court, which you can see in the background here behind the Rotary Club members. And that took on a life of its own. And then with outdoor fitness court, it only came with one side, and that's with the apparatus, the equipment. And John said, what about the other side? I don't want just a wall. People driving by are just gonna see a wall. Why can't we make that an outdoor classroom? And so we challenged the company, and they came up with what you see on the slide before with that dance area. So it could be a waiting room area or a wait area for parents waiting for kiddos to be done with their little fitness class, because we have fitness for kids. Or it could be a dance class, like this is a dance exercise class. Kathy Friedland has the portable mics, and they've got the instructors that are gonna go down there, have structured classes, but also people can check it out on their own. Bring a boombox down there and rock out with their friends. So.
And that cute little girl, that one's mine. Love it.
But, yep.
I
Thanks
did a
for
selfie with her, she's like, give me a phone.
See, if you send me a picture, you never know when
I
it's
know,
gonna
I
end up.
know.
And also a special thank you to our partners at the Batavia Rotary Club for rolling up your sleeves and planting our new pollinator garden. You did it with such care and enthusiasm. We appreciate you. And Kim and her team seamlessly worked with them, with the volunteers, and you could tell everyone took great pride in their work. It shows. And as you know, last month, a box elder tree at Woodland Hills Park was removed due to safety concerns. So we understood that this was going to be an emotional decision to remove the tree, and the neighbors had shared their fondness of the tree over the years. Anytime there was a storm, they were the first to tell us that, make sure, pick up those branches, we want to make sure the tree's okay. And, so Katie and her marketing team created a sign with a QR code and invited the neighbors to meet with Kim, Alex, our superintendent of parks, and myself. And we met on a rainy day last week and passed out these wooden coasters that were made from the box elder tree. And we had we actually had 60 people show up on that rainy day.
That was awesome.
It
Yeah.
was not a great weather day at all for you guys.
No, in fact, yeah, you can see the umbrellas in the one picture. Yeah, like people, a couple from North Aurora came. They wanted to give their grown adult children these
They lived
posters
there
as a
before,
Christmas
yeah.
gift. And then we had people say, hey, you know what? There are people that grew up in this neighborhood. They want us to mail them some coasters, so they asked for extras. So, we heard all sorts of great stories, right, Kim?
Yeah, it was crazy.
But it was really neat, and it was an opportunity to really connect with the neighbors, and they were able to ask us questions about the park, and
Yeah.
it was just fantastic.
A lot of good dialogue.
That's awesome.
Well, thanks for being responsive to,
And respectful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that goes
I
They go a
because-
long way for PR and
Well, even
just,
beyond
yeah.
that, though, but I think, the ability to have a dialogue with something as routine as taking a tree down,
Right.
that, created, yes, goodwill, I think a lot of goodwill, but again, I think the park district's job is to connect with people, particularly where we have open space. And oftentimes it's just the guy mowing or the gal mowing the lawn, that's all they see. And I think this is a really great testament to the park staff for, doing a program, right? I mean, that was a program.
Yeah.
I think you should get a little credit for the program.
This is something that should be at like the conference in January.
I was
a little storyboard about like.
Well, I was gonna
that.
say, this is almost like a best practice thing to share with like other park something, because all they get is probably.
Katie's like,
Well, it's true. Most of the park districts just take the tree
Well,
down.
that's what I was gonna say, that shows me like, hey, how
All of a sudden,
take
a
tree
big
down,
truck
people
shows
go,
up, the
"It's
tree's
gonna be
gone,
something
and
here."
everybody's like, what happened to the tree?
Yeah.
In fact, Alex had stumps too, and somebody said to me, like, what am I gonna do with that stump? I said, you can make a charcuterie board, and they're like, okay, I'm taking it. Sometimes people just need to be spoon-fed the ideas, and then they're on board with it. But,
So congratulations.
well, and to the board's credit too, you're always reminding us to tell our story, right? We have a lot of stories to tell. We hear stories every day from the residents to us. Sometimes we can tell the residents stories. I mean, it's interactive, and this is a really cool story to tell.
Yeah, they appreciated it.
And we told people they could carve their initials in here and they won't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
All right, since we're still talking parks, I wanted to keep with the theme here. We are having an issue in North Aurora with the proposed bike path connection at the new Autumn Ridge subdivision. So if you recall, the lot for the path was platted 20 years ago, and the project sat vacant for a very, very long time. There are only 63 houses on this lot, and now MI Homes is now developing the site. We've had the park board approve temporary construction easements, and then I'll let Kim pick it up from here, what the Village of North Aurora has noticed recently.
Well, they've come to us with some issues. One, if you look on the bottom right box, white box, location of the wetland, that was from 2014. And then our trail is just a little bit above that to the west.
So,
Right there,
Yep.
yep.
Jones
That was
Meadow.
we approved like that little connector, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, with the whole path
Yeah.
will be
Will be
ours.
ours, yeah.
Yeah. This is just a picture in 2014 of where the wetland is, and then the next picture shows you where the wetland is now.
Oh dear,
Mm.
okay.
Is it all the way in?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Okay, wait, where is this?
Jones Meadow, the path that a
Oh,
few
yeah,
years
yeah,
ago we
okay,
redid.
okay. I didn't realize that was the name of the subdivision. Okay, so it's more problems.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
so the city, Village of North Aurora has come to us and asked how we want to move forward with this, because it was a land cash agreement.
And is that interior portion of park, or is that just backyards?
Oh, that's actually
That's
a
a
detention
detention.
pond.
Detention
So,
area.
so ours is just the path.
Correct.
And we accepted the cash for this back in maybe 2007 or 8.
So
So
we
now
are
just
between a
land.
retention, so the path is between a retention pond and now this wetlands that's creeping? Right, so a bridge?
So one option,
I know a guy who can write a song about it.
Yeah.
well, yeah, right. A bridge over troubled
We
waters.
got a new bridge.
So what Kim and I would, and again, it's not an actual discussion item on the agenda, but we can at least try to come to consensus, and Erin can help me to make sure I am staying in alignment with that. And that is that, Kim and I are okay with, so this connection here, sorry, the pointer's not working. This right here, we could forego this path and just keep this little stub here and the west connection. We could forego the east connection, and the developer would have to give the park district
Some cash.
for the
They
materials.
would, it
and
sounds
labor.
like they would not donate the land. I don't particularly want that land if there's not gonna be a path on it.
They'll ask us if we want it, but we're not in the business of.
But they would donate, it's not cash equivalent to the land, but cash equivalent to what would be spent on materials.
So then we're free of it?
Yeah.
So we couldn't put like a 6-foot pipe underneath there that takes the wetland into that
The
detention area?
problem, there's ways around that, but it's a whole legal issue, it's a whole Army Corps of Engineers with
Okay.
That sounds
permits
like
and all
yeah,
that stuff.
that gets
Anytime you
into it.
touch the wetland.
Okay.
It's a lot of engineering expenses, and MI Homes doesn't want to have to
But
pay
the
it.
wetland can just do whatever it wants.
Correct.
Just making sure, it's creeping into our path.
Yes,
We just gotta say cool.
correct.
Well, and the Village of North Aurora intervened because
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
MI Homes was ready to lay down the asphalt. and
Yeah,
build
they
on
were
it.
just gonna do it without.
What's gonna happen when the wetlands goes farther to the
Further.
left?
It's probably, that pond is just gonna
It's just gonna
turn
keep
into
on
water.
growing.
Yes,
Hopefully it goes into the detention pond and just settles in there rather than rather than a path that we would build just,
yeah, it should go flow right into the detention area, and if we give up that east end and just do the west, it
yeah,
won't affect
it'd be
us.
fine.
But that's a great point, though, if we need them, maybe that's where we bring in upland design, but if we need them to create some sort of earthen berm, to create a higher level for
Right,
that
to like the
path.
southwest, I'm worried about, because north is up, right, on this, right? So I'm
North,
worried,
yeah.
I'm worried about the southwest of that, like it's creeping
Correct.
down southwest, but rather than just,
Right.
but northwest up
That-
into the detention.
Well, that area is the area we just fixed.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of.
I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah,
Okay.
You were new to the
I
board.
visited it.
yes.
The only thing I would say is, and I get what we're talking about, if we just get rid of the easy idea is just to get rid of that side. But from like a neighborhood child situation, that's a giant retention pond now that there's no path around, right? It's kind of, you gotta go all the way around it.
Yeah, you have to go to the.
Right, you gotta
local
go, you know, it just,
They're not willing, it doesn't sound like NI Homes is willing to, we'd have to really fight for them to put in that, because North Florida's, they're gonna have to go through the Army Corps, which is a nightmare, and it pushes the building
Everything
back hugely.
so they're not gonna fight it, so then, you know, because
You know, it's just,
they wanted it.
We
Yeah.
talked
Yeah,
about
it's-
this.
It's a difficult conversation for the Village of North Aurora too, because the Village of North Aurora and MI Homes had an annexation agreement that has since expired. So Village of North Aurora can't really hold them accountable since the annexation agreement's expired.
And so not all the houses are built there.
Well, it makes sense when you look
They're being sold right now to build.
at the wider view.
Yeah.
There's really nothing on that east
That
side
they would go to?
that you would go to anyway.
Okay.
You're gonna flow out into the west to go straight
Comes
up.
and then links back around,
Right.
so the
Okay.
cul-de-sac seems.
So it's
to-
not like it takes them to their buddy's
Yeah.
house
Right.
easier?
I
No,
don't think so.
no.
I love what you're thinking though.
Well, I mean, I
Well,
just
and-
know,
And as long as there's fair
but you want it
compensation,
anyway.
Right.
fair compensation for what was going to be, what is not going to be, I mean,
I agree, I didn't understand why they weren't, I wasn't real clear on why we wouldn't be compensated the land part of it also. Not the land itself, but cash appropriate equal.
I think, I mean, I wrote that down too, because that
Okay.
strikes me as odd, but I think probably their logic is right now the path is owned by MI Homes and it wouldn't be dedicated, the land that the path would be on, that
Yeah.
Y shape. And what they're dedicating is the trail, when it's constructed, but I agree with you that it's odd that the compensation's for the cost of the improvement to the land, not the land itself, because all the cash donation ordinances
Right.
are
Right.
the value of the land, so I don't.
Right,
I
we would
think
have
that's
normally had the
curious.
land.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
investigate
But
that.
something that did come up in
Oversight.
conversation today with the Village of North Aurora is that they said that the land cash ordinance language has changed from 2007 when we signed it
Yes,
to
significantly. it sounded.
2025, so I wonder if it's the language that was originally agreed upon that's changed. So we'll have to look at that.
Yeah, and if the original annexation agreement or any of the terms, normally, like, the municipalities don't like to bargain away the value to other local governments and annexation agreements, but it could be a combination of things. But I can take a look at the village's, like, land donation ordinance. I would be surprised if it's that different, because that could be a substantial reduction in
Right,
the cost,
That's what I was
the
thinking.
payment in lieu.
yeah.
board general consensus?
Well, I'm saying, I guess people don't know what they're missing because it's not even there to begin with.
Yeah.
So we just don't build it, right? You never know when you didn't.
And we're just gonna run into more problems
It-
with that
It's just gonna
retention
be a
problem.
nightmare.
Right,
Yeah, it's gonna be a
Mosquito
nightmare.
pit.
Yeah,
And I guess since they both come out at the same cutout
Yep,
point, you know, it's not like it takes another angel out, so yeah.
so I'm
Yeah.
on board with that, yeah.
And then if they try to, so if MI Homes tries to dedicate that area to us, even
We don't
though
want it.
we don't want it,
No,
we'll
Because
just,
what?
okay.
We don't accept detention.
That's right, we're not in the business of wetlands or detention ponds.
See if the Army Corps of Engineers wants it.
The forest preserve.
Well, I mean, those wetlands will continue to creep.
yeah, it's just gonna get better.
It'll all become one thing.
Well, it'll turn out to be another repair.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it'll end up eventually being just like the other one.
Yeah.
Right.
Sounds like we don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we don't want anything to do with that.
All right, thank you for the clear direction, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good discussion. So we're still talking parks mode here. So a big thank you to everyone at home watching on BATV who participated in this year's Parks Madness, while you're probably doing March Madness on the side as well. We had 32 Batavia parks that went head to head, all in the spirit of celebrating our amazing park system. And the ultimate goal is really to rally support for our parks, discover a few hidden gems along the way, and yeah, I just want to say congratulations to Big Woods Park, the big winner.
My neighbor.
Neighbors that, oh, yep, got some neighbors here. And we'll be celebrating with a special Popsicles in the Park event this summer. So kudos to Katie Burgess and Lindsay Williams, Lindsay Williams, who took this initiative and made it a social media viral sensation. So people had fun. So yeah, at the end it was Big Woods versus South Mill Creek, so east versus west. Ooh.
Yeah.
My Brave Room Park
Aww.
got slaughtered in the first round.
So the results are currently posted on our website on the homepage under the News Cafe section, so people can download it if they want to check out where their favorite park landed. And here,
Oh, yeah.
Vice President Tillman alluded to the exterior.
That's the money shot right there. That's the one. That's the one you go to get your picture taken.
Yep, so the aluminum storefront doors have been installed. The dumpster foundation, exciting things here. The dumpster foundation's now been poured in place. Roofing is about 80% completed. Josh and I just had our construction meeting today.
We're gonna have the nicest trash enclosure.
Yeah.
And all of Batavia.
It will.
Fancy trash.
Fancy trash. Fancy trash.
Classy trash.
The elevator is slated for installation May 5th. And then later on at this board meeting, we're going to be asking the board to award a contract for furniture for the enrichment program. So again, I want to congratulate Josh. He's done an amazing job with Bear Construction and Williams Architects, communicating our needs and making sure that they get met. And then also we're excited to announce that we've narrowed it down to 2 weekends, and I would like the board's feedback on the grand opening, either Saturday, August 9th or the 16th.
Build the statue, will the Callahan statue be assembled by then?
It'll just be passed.
Well, the problem is the height. It's 20 feet tall, so that's the problem. Transporting it there.
She asked the new commissioners.
And Pat, would you like a song?
See, we got a song
Maybe,
guy now.
after that, then maybe. August.
Actually, the
I'm good
Callahan
with you.
Center is neighbors with our songwriter.
Yeah.
What were the weekends? I really don't
The
know.
9th or the 16th.
It's like the first week of school.
Which month? That's August,
Oh,
right?
August, yep.
I'm good. I like it.
Yeah, I'm good on it.
And the actual plaque that's going on the building will have Tara and Pat, your names on it as the board members that were in place during the design and approvals, in addition to the new board that will take place in May.
So like 100 years from now, people will be like, look at those names, like you do when you're in the
Who are these people?
Be like, who was on the school board in 1975?
Yep. So you'll see the board that was a part of all of
Got it.
the design and the approval processes, and then the board that'll be intact in August.
Cool.
I would prefer the 9th.
The 9th? And
Your building, you did.
Katie and Brittany, the two masterminds over there, are also going to be the co-chairs for the committee for the party planning here. So I know an open house will be in order, but I do want to let you know we'll do a ribbon cutting and a lot of surprises in store. We are talking about doing a time capsule with the Historical Society, but that won't be open for another 100 years, so we don't have to worry about that right now.
So we don't care what goes in.
Because there's that museum component as well, and the Historical Society was such an instrumental partner. We want to make sure that we let them know it as well.
Would it be a morning or afternoon?
Do you have a preference?
I think it's morning.
Anything after 10?
Anything after 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
And because I'm going to have my dad transported from the nursing home to come.
Oh.
Yeah, great.
So August 9th after 10. Excellent.
They get him up at 7:30, so they can get him. It's good.
Love it.
When I get my building, I'm definitely bringing my mom too.
I love it.
You got a long time to go.
Someone's like, wait a second, I want to build a
Just a couple more decades.
All right. And then we're moving full speed ahead with the strategic master planning process. Our consultants, Next Practice Partners, were on site March 25th and 26th. We had 2 community input meetings that were well attended. We had stakeholder interviews that took place and focus groups. So we had a lot of community engagement in those 2 days. We also provided a tour of facilities and parks. And now we're in the process of collaborating with ETC on a community survey that's going to go out to random households. And we're going to have an online survey as well that everyone can participate in. So I'll share the draft survey with the board. We haven't gotten to that stage yet, but when it gets to draft form, they're compiling all the information from all of the interviews, the focus groups, the community input meetings, and then they're drafting the survey based on that information.
How was the community input meeting?
We had 2 of them,
Yeah.
and we had about 30 people at each.
Oh, that's good. That's
Mhm.
a lot.
I can tell you that the dam and the depot pond came up at each one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you that community gardens came up in topic, and there were a lot of like current themes. People expressed that they would love to see a fitness center. In fact, every single
Indoor pool?
indoor pool and
Yep.
fitness center, those were the 2 number
Ask
one
them where they
things.
were, you know, yeah.
If only there's been,
Oh, if only anybody had an idea for a referendum.
3
So-
times.
Yeah, we did have a lot of people ask us, newer residents that didn't know that we had been a referendum 3 times in the last 25 years. So they had asked, so I just gave them a very brief history. So they had said, well, if you just ask for just a fitness center and just a pool, we'll be open to it. So, but people also said, don't raise our taxes, do more with less, but be creative in how we do it.
I got it.
So partnerships came up a lot too. So yeah, I think, but fitness centers, indoor pool, those were the top 2. And overall, I think everybody, and then the depot pond, people really wanted to talk about that, and we had to remind people this was about the entire park district, our park system. We have 40 parks, we've got a lot of facilities, what programming, what would you like to see? And a lot of people talked about what they enjoyed about the park district, so celebrate the wins, but certainly, people would like to see more discussion about the dam and the depot pond. And this is my second to last slide. Our leadership team proudly serves as the voice and face of throughout local and state organizations. So I just wanted to remind people at home and the park board that we really try to represent the park district in many different facets and as the voice and face of the park district. So whether it's the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary, the Illinois Park and Recreation Association, that we really do our best to strengthen community partnerships and stay at the forefront of our industry.
I like your all. Brittany, where's your blue shirt?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Brittany, did you like it?
Okay. We'll let it go.
Yeah, there's a little blue in there, a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to stand out.
Yeah.
And then here's my last slide, and this is kind of looking forward to the future. Congratulations to our 2 newly elected commissioners. Surprise for everyone, and this is my executive director's report this month. So Amanda Slayer and Anik Druin, congratulations. At the May 20th board meeting, we'll conduct regular business, and then we'll take a brief intermission to honor outgoing President Pat Callahan and Commissioner Tara Gray for their years of service. And then we'll reconvene with the swearing in and oaths of our new commissioners led by Judge Keith Johnson. Judge Keith Johnson will be here in attendance. And then we'll go from there to officer elections for president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. So in the meantime, please feel free to email me any nominations that you have. Email me directly. And then, or if you want to, you can make the nominations at the next board meeting, but either between now and then, all of the park board members can do that. Or you can wait to do it at the May board meeting. So, and that, those of you watching at home, my friends, is a wrap.
Outstanding. Nice report.
Thank you.
So we have some action items here, so I will take these as they come. So item number 15A, I entertain a motion to award the contract for parking lot seal coating at Hall Quarry Beach to Denler, Inc. of Joliet for a base bid amount of $18,718.56.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any further discussion? Lindsay, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray. Aye. Larson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye, motion carries. 15B, I would entertain a motion to award the contract for the Callahan Community Center parking lot paving to Champion Paving Corporation of Hampshire, Illinois, in the amount of $38,984.58.
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any further discussion?
I just am wondering, and John and I were talking about this before, what exactly does that include? What do we, those parking spots that were kind of face McDonald's, and then how many spots in the front and on the
Correct,
back?
it's gonna be in the front of the building and around
The south.
south side of the building, yes. So we're milling it down and resurfacing the top.
Are there
of that.
parking spots on the south side, or is that just a drive-through
It's
there?
just gonna be a
Yeah.
drive.
Okay, so we don't own anything behind.
The city does.
Yeah.
The city owns that bank
So
parking.
how many parking spots do we have?
Okay, got it.
It's
All
an
right.
open city
I'll
lot.
have to look,
Okay.
That was 5 or 6.
yeah.
5 or 6 whole
I thought
spots?
No, in the front there, but
It's
we
not a
do
lot.
have the
Yeah.
same parking, the public lot on the, right on the south side of the.
So
And then the
3
street-
handicaps.
There's that street
2.
parking on
Yes.
Houston as well.
In Houston,
Right.
and then there's a little strip in between us and
Like
McDonald's as
15,
well.
probably.
So, yeah, tight parking in the facility itself, but
I'll
surrounding.
Vespa down to my classes
Yeah.
down there.
We'll find a spot for the best one.
Yes.
So the city did take into consideration, because they have so many open spots with the Riverwalk parking and then
Right.
the open lot with the bank, that would count towards our capacity parking spots.
Any other discussion? Lindsay, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray. Aye. Larson.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye, motion carries.
Great, thank you.
Item number 15C, I would entertain a motion to award the contract for the Callahan Community Center Enrichment Program Furniture to Interiors for Business in Batavia in the amount of $36,622.80.
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Any discussion on this one? Lindsay, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray. Aye. Larson.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, and then next month we'll have more than likely additional furniture that isn't such a long lead time.
Right.
So the furniture for the enrichment program is Germany that we're getting it from.
Yeah.
Germany?
8 to 14 weeks, it sounded like, so.
Yeah.
So we had to we had to jump on that one first, and then the rest of it had a much smaller lead time. So.
Okay.
We don't want to order from China.
All right, so we have a first reading for the discussion of the President Emeritus policy. Very short policy. If the board has any comments.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, the term of the appointment shall be for 1 year and renewed annually. Can we change the language to make it more project-based rather than calendar-based? I don't know what that's gonna do, but just be like,
More of an ad hoc situation?
exactly, it's like, it's less of a commitment for somebody who has moved off the board to be like, hey, but you have a unique skill set, you have a unique knowledge that we can tap into for a certain project and would like to have some sort of post for that. That's really when I was thinking, that's really what I wanted to be, rather than an extension of an existing term essentially by say making it a year.
But can the ad hoc term be like a year? I
Yeah,
guess they're
but
saying
it's
that's what
project,
we-
but it's a project, like if the project takes that long, it takes that long,
Right.
right?
So, to answer your question, I think it could. I think probably there's a bigger issue. I think there's a splitting the baby problem here. So Dirk and I looked at the policy and had concerns about creating an officer position that's not provided for under the Park District Code. So under the Park District Code, it's the president, the vice president, the secretary, and the treasurer. There can be deputy secretaries and treasurers. The reason that it's important, and it goes to the ad hoc point, is that having a formal policy that's so flexible that doesn't establish very clear standards, we were wading into issues with FOIA, Open Meetings Act, and attorney-client privilege even. So the policy here is sort of with Dirk and my revisions concerning those issues because we just find it, I guess the question we had was what problem is the board trying to solve? What circumstances do you foresee there being, a need to have, obviously we recognize that President Callahan has a lot of experience and expertise in park districts and architecture and all these issues, but I think it's just an unusual move, and putting it into a policy, it raised a lot of questions about how to preserve those issues when, his electronic communications could be subject to FOIA if he's an officer. If we
See,
go into
it's so
closed
funny
session.
because it's the opposite of what I was thinking. That's why I thought we needed a policy, is to prevent those kind of conflicts. But it sounds like without a policy, we would not have those conflicts.
I mean, I think then it becomes truly more ad hoc, where it's like, oh, maybe, former President
Yeah, and
Callahan
that's
has
fine.
some
I was literally trying to prevent the stuff
I
you're
know,
talking, and
I
so it's
know.
like, we don't need a policy.
Well, it's funny.
If we don't need a policy, if your recommendation is don't have a policy, then,
So
And
would
it
you
just
feel,
becomes a shoulder tap situation.
right.
would you feel more comfortable if it was just informally, like a mentorship instead of a policy?
Yeah, because then,
Mentorship.
if you have, obviously you and President Callahan have a good working relationship, if any one individual board member is, sees something on an
just call him.
agenda item.
Yeah, that's fine. I thought, it's so funny because I was like, if I did that, then am I gonna get in trouble from all these other kind of things? And you're saying with a policy, I'd get in more trouble than that, so.
I mean, I think it's just recognizing that unfortunately Dirk and I have to be the glass half empty people a lot of the time, where it's like, oh, reading this, it raises more questions than it answers. And at the end of the day, the park, you hear from residents all the time. If you're getting input on policies or initiatives or any sort of thing that's helping you make your decisions, if there was a need to push this into a more formal board-like position, that'd be great. But I think honestly that's more trouble than it's worth, not only for the board, but probably also for listening.
Cool.
Well, the initial discussion was that I offered to help shepherd, since we started, the negotiation with the school district on the IGA, that I have now done 3 times with the school district, to help shepherd that negotiation kind of as a liaison to the board, and then report to the board. It's obviously the board's decision. I'm just going to work to try to help get the best possible. So that's how it started. So, you can use me any way you want. I mean, I'm happy to help.
So another point is that John's going to be with a board that is very rookie, right? Sam and I become the 2 second most seasoned people. We've been here like almost 2 years, right? And then 2 brand new people who are, bright-eyed and ready to learn, but, there's a lot of experience that's being lost that we just, it'd be nice to, hey, what's the history on that?
But I've got a lot of history too.
Right, correct, yeah.
And staff, like Kim's been here 21 years. So.
No, you don't have to keep explaining stuff.
But
Same
it's
stuff
not,
over and over.
but it's
That's
not
what happens
necessarily,
twice, right?
it wasn't necessarily,
Yeah.
what is the problem we're trying to solve? It wasn't necessarily
Yeah.
the board dynamics. It was literally an upcoming, what has traditionally been rather tumultuous negotiating with the schools on the IGA. And when there's somebody who has relationships with board members on the school board, I was thinking we should exploit that relationship and that knowledge and that past history that's been in all of those other negotiations that we've had issues with. I mean, I'm the worst person to try to talk firsthand with the school board. So,
Well, I think
Maybe you should be president.
you know what? We're having a conversation? But there are people on the board who Pat has a personal and professional relationship with, that it just seems to make sense. Why wouldn't we want to still exploit that? And so that's why I was like, but to do that, do we need some sort of formal policy? Yeah, maybe not.
there are 2
Leverage.
scenarios then.
Leverage is a better word.
Yeah.
Since this is your guys' first reading of the policy, I think these are 2 things you can consider. So if there weren't going to be something really specific like these negotiations that you thought could benefit from President Callahan's involvement in a more formal capacity, it seems like there is. But if there weren't, we would say policy is not really necessary, it can be more casual. When it comes to those issues, which might be discussed, I don't know if it'd be justified for closed session, might be discussed in closed session, might involve Dirk and myself, where privilege could be waived, then I would say the two options are don't adopt the policy for more flexible things, or now that you've mentioned something so specific that you're worried about or want to include President Callahan on, adopt the policy as written, because Dirk and I have adjusted it to account for FOIA, for OMA, and for privilege to say this person would be part of the control group. By engaging with President Callahan or whoever the President Emeritus, we wouldn't be waiving privilege, there wouldn't be any open meetings problems. So I think that's a policy decision for you all to make, but I think if these negotiations will be substantial and you think that President Callahan will be significantly involved and engaging with us still and being sort of like more formal liaison, then this might be helpful, but I encourage you all to review it.
So this is the first reading. We still have next month that we would, with a second reading, to have something formal come from this,
We
right?
could do a
So-
third reading for
Or even,
however
yeah,
many.
so,
Another thing too is we do have a citizen, couldn't we form a citizens advisory?
Like a committee?
Yeah.
Committee
and
of
then-
one.
and that could be a part of, wait.
Committee of Pat.
I mean, the only reason I think the IGA negotiations strike me as different from a lot of like other committee activities is that it might have more legal involvement, and it might have, if it gets thorny enough, it could have issues that go into open meetings. So I think, I hate to say it depends, but really thinking more carefully about what those might look like and how you guys imagine you might contribute in this role, I think that'll be helpful to us to say, okay, on the balance of things, a policy is necessary, or actually, this is more trouble than it's worth, basically.
I mean, Tara's right. She just said, I don't think it's gonna be as, like any of the previous ones we've had, but,
No, I think it'll be a little more amicable, but
yeah.
I understand the concern.
Yeah.
I guess I would simply say, ask for you and Dirk to go back and just, now that you know the context, take a look at this.
Yeah.
If it needs to be, I mean, the only thing that I would offer to change would be that the term of the appointment shall be for 1 year or the duration of the assignment.
Yeah, that's really the word, yeah, rather than project.
Yeah, right, whichever comes first.
Okay.
I don't think that'll materially change what you're
No,
going
certainly
for.
not.
So,
And we have had
because if I
great,
go home and say I was appointed for a year, as John pointed out, I might get shot.
Yeah. And people know where I live.
Or at
so-
least locked out of the house.
Yeah, yeah.
and Pat and I have had really healthy dialogue with the school board,
Mhm.
or the staff, and, yeah, I think we're in a different era.
Yeah, I'm not
There's been a
anticipating
lot of
any
leadership
issues, but
changes.
why not continue those conversations?
Well, the only other thing that I guess is the third thing to consider is policy should be generally applicable, should be enduring. You don't want to come back in 2 years and say, this President Emeritus policy, what is this? We don't use it, it's not useful. So I guess that's the difference between the policy versus like pseudo, not contractual relationship, but working with Pat in a more informal way. So,
I see what
something
you're
to
saying,
think
like
about.
10 years
I'm
down the
gonna
road,
think
you're like,
about
what was
too.
this about? Like,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless President Tillman is the next, or Vice President Tillman is the next President Emeritus, which we'll see.
I don't see that happening.
He wants to stay on the board.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any other comments? All right, then that concludes our meeting, our business portion of our meeting. We do have an executive session to perform Allison's performance evaluation. But we do not expect any other business to come before us afterwards. So, I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session under Personnel 2C1 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act at 8:27.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tillman, second by Gray. Lindsay, please call the roll.
Tillman.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Larson.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye. So we will be in executive session, and when we come out, we will close our meeting, we will end business, so thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Staff is excused.